Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and use C, and we're gonna paint here. So we're gonna dab again and just fill in. Not super thick, but not as thin as last time. All right, we'll go ahead and let that dry, and then we'll peel it off. All right, we're gonna go ahead and peel that off. Get fancy with it here. 2 at a time. All right. I'm liking how that looks. You can kind of see the 2 different oranges. We're gonna go ahead and make sure that's completely dry and move on to our next step. All right, so now this step is not something that you have to do, but you do get a little bit of sandpaper with your project, and I'm going to go ahead and just sand a little bit kind of in these areas where they did overlap and a little bit on the edges, just because that's the look that I like. See, it takes a little bit off there. Let me show you. Bump my camera. See, it just took a little bit off there and there. It just gives it kind of that finished look. So I'm gonna do that around all the edges, and then I'm gonna go in the insides a little bit. I'm just going really lightly, actually. And then we'll do the bottom. I apologize about that. All right, so then try not to get my camera shaking here. And then we're gonna go just kind of in this area here. Again, I'm just going lightly. Okay, let's try that again. Sorry about that. Okay, so I went around all the edges. And we're just going in this, kind of along these lines here. Just a little bit. I like to stay and go, like to go with the green. I'm just a little bit on these here. Okay, and that's all I'm gonna do for that. So then, we're gonna do Thankful in black. Kind of more terracotta color. So we're gonna do Thankful in black. Kind of more terracotta color. I'm going to do C, I believe, the darker, kind of more terracotta color. Let that dry. Okay, that's been drying, and I'm gonna grab that off-white color again, and just to kind of stick with that theme, I'm gonna go just around the edges of the background of my Thankful. Lightly. Let that dry. All right, now that that is dry, we're gonna grab our glue. We're gonna carefully turn over Thankful. So I have my glue, a paper towel, and sponge. So we're gonna get a little bit of glue, and just the same as the paint, we're gonna dab it off, and then we're gonna dab it onto the background of Thankful. You do, I mean, this one's kind of tricky. You want to not have too much, but you want to kind of be able to see it, which is hard here. Kind of see it. And it also dries fairly quickly, so we don't want to take too much time here. You don't want to have it super thick though, because you don't want to see it after you put it on. Okay, so it looks pretty good to me. So carefully, I'm going to turn it over and put it on the background here. So hold it with like on the H and the F. And kind of get them lined up. I'm actually gonna set the bottom down almost like this, like a hinge, and kind of decide where you're going to put it. That looks good. We just kind of want to make sure it's even as much as possible all around, and then just kind of lightly tap to make sure it's all touching. You don't want to press really hard because then all the glue is going to come out. Okay, so just make sure it's flat. If you have any pieces, for some reason, humidity does like to mess with wood. If for some reason it's not, just go ahead and find something like a cup, or I use paint bottles a lot, and I just set them on there like that. Just something to give it a little bit of weight to make sure that it sticks. If you have clamps or anything like that, you could do that. That might be a little bit of overkill unless you have little tiny ones. Otherwise, you could just hold it for a little bit. It dries pretty quick, so just want to make sure that it's on there. And we'll let that dry, and then we're gonna put that on the sign, just like that. So once that's completely dry, we're gonna flip this over. We're gonna do the same thing but on the back of here, and then we're gonna place it here. Now, if you don't want to do that, you can leave this sign plain, and you can have this as a shelf sitter as well. You do not have to put this on here if you don't want to, okay? It would be really cute just propped up, both of them, you know, separately, and you could have them in the same spot, different spots, totally up to you. For the purpose of this, I am gonna put it on here though. Alright, since this has a wider area that we're working with, you don't necessarily have to dab all of that glue off. You want to just kind of go in the middle and then go around that way. Still want to cover as much of the area as possible. That pretty well covered there. You gotta see that there. So I'm gonna carefully flip that over. And I'm gonna go, you could go right at this line here. Actually, I kind of like that. Get that. This is what it's like in my mind all day. So actually, I'm gonna go right above, kind of in between these two lines here. So I'm just gonna line that up. Just gonna let that sit there. Same thing. If you need to kind of just press it on, hold it in place, you can. If you need to set something on there, that's fine too. Whatever works the best for you. Just, we don't want to push it super hard because if you do have a lot of glue, we don't want it to come out, but we do want it to stick. So it's kind of a fine line, but yeah. So we're gonna let that set, and we'll move on to our next piece. All right. Now we're moving on to our pumpkin. So this is what we are doing. We are tying them together, and then they can stand up and be on a shelf. How cute is that? You can either go this way, so many different ways you can do that. So I tried to make the pieces of twine long enough so that you could tie them and then cut them off. We're gonna go through it and that, and it's, again, you could tie them in the back if you don't like this look. If you just wanted to have them without, you could definitely do that as well. I just thought it added a little something. So I'm gonna tie it. You don't want it to be super tight. You want it to be able to move a little bit, so that way you can fold it so that it stands up. Okay. And I'll add a couple of extra pieces just in case you would need them. So there we go. Could probably make that even a little bit tighter, but Do you have any issues getting the jute string through, which you should not, try to make sure that they are all good, but you can either cut them off or you could use a piece of like masking tape, not masking tape, Scotch tape, and put it on the edge. That just takes a little bit extra time. Otherwise you could just cut it off to where it's really thin if you have a thicker piece there for some reason. So then we're gonna tie this again. Leave a little bit of space. And we're doing a double knot. That's it. I don't think I mentioned that before. Double knot. Oh, I got way off there. Okay. You can see that has a little bit of room there when I pull it. So then I'm gonna get my scissors here and just cut the ends off. You can leave a little bit more if you want to. If you do leave a little bit more, you can kind of take them pieces and fray them a little bit, which is kind of cute. Just make sure your knots are tight enough. So that's an option as well. I'm gonna go ahead and tie this one up. Just for the sake of demonstration, I'm gonna tie this one the opposite direction. So my knot will be in the back. So that's pretty cute too. And the wood that you have is probably not this dark. Don't be alarmed. For this demonstration, for this video, I used my not so good wood. double knot. Last one here. Okay, so then you can cut these off. You wouldn't necessarily have to, but keep things kind of tidy. Ooh, you guys, I like that. I like that. I might have to take the other ones off and flip them around for mine. All right, anyways, let's move on to the last assembly. And then we'll put this small one on. So we'll go small, big, and then small. And we'll go all the way, pull them all the way to the leaf. There, and then we'll continue that process. We go from the back to the front. I'll put my thumb there. All the way. There. Now, before we get too far, it is totally up to you. You can do this the opposite way, where this would be behind. I personally like the look of this. Just gives the banner a little bit more character, I guess, but it would look like this the other way. So that is up to you. That is why it's a DIY, so you can do it your own way. So sometimes with that jute or the string, it gets kind of bunched like that. It's kind of fraying, I guess. So if it's not too far, I mean, you can kind of hold it and see. Hold it out and see. This is just on the end, so I'm actually gonna go ahead and cut this off. I gave you quite a bit extra, so you should have enough, but definitely check and see. So then I have a good end there again. Okay, so I'm back to my beads, and I'm just gonna continue with this process, and I'm gonna go ahead and speed it up here. You can go ahead and start on yours. You don't have to watch me string all these if you don't want to, but if you have any questions, just go ahead and watch that again. So I got the 3, so I have a little spot there, but I'm just gonna go right over that. And right next to them. Okay, and then I'm gonna go on to my next leaf. you can